All right, gang. The attendance tonight was 5,807. The gate was $382,875. The fight of the night, Henderson versus Thatch. Performance of the night, go to Borg and Magny. Congratulations, everybody won $50,000. Who's first? Raise your hand. There you go.
Let me go ahead and start with Benson. Congratulations on a phenomenal victory. You know, you were, I think, a slight favorite when the betting odds came out, but everyone saw the weigh-ins. They saw how big, Brandon was standing next to you. Did you feel like an underdog coming into tonight?
I haven't really paid much attention to the underdog and not the underdog for a long, long time. I haven't paid attention to that for a long time, so I felt the same as most of my fights.
Obviously, you've been a champion, so I know that's going to rank, highest in your career. But where would you say this win is, considering, you took this fight on short notice, you bump up a weight class? I mean, there were a lot of things that could have potentially been against you in this fight, and I don't think anyone would have said it was a terrible loss had you lost the fight. So where does this rank in terms of your career?
I really can't overemphasize, guys. Here in the UFC, the toughest fighters on the planet, every fight you have is the most important fight of your career. Every fight you have, the next fight, you win a belt, you defend it the record number of times. The next fight you have, that's the next most important fight of your career. That's how it is for all of us here on the stage, So this one is top up there for, best fight of my life because the one I just won.
And after the fight, you said a certain Canadian, obviously everyone knows you were talking about Rory McDonald. He kind of joked on Twitter, I don't know if anyone told you, but he said that, every welterweight's calling him out. Now I got lightweights calling me out. I assume you were very serious, and if the UFC offered you that fight, you would definitely step in. Is that something you'd be interested in?
If Mr. White offered it right now, I would jump all over that. That's for sure. But McDonald, he's tough as heck, and I'd be in for a handful right there.
Dana, is there any
McDonald has a fight right now.
And what's that fight? Can we know now or?
Nah.
No?
No.
Not going to tell us?
He does have a fight. He has a fight lined up already.
Okay, but we can't know about it yet.
No.
Okay.
It hasn't been announced yet.
Okay. And one question for Max Holloway. Max, congrats on the win. Obviously, right after the fight, you already got your next fight lined up. So let me ask you, how was that moment, and now knowing that you're facing Cub Swanson, a top 5 guy, April 18th on Fox?
Man, blessed, man, I like the nickname, man. I'm excited, man. I can't wait. I look up to Cub in a lot of ways, and his ninja style versus my ninja style should be a great ninja fight. So I can't wait April 18th.
Hey, for Ben, congratulations. That photo really did make the rounds, it felt like yesterday. And I was just wondering, when you were standing up there and you got to actually see how big Brandon was any part of you like, what am I doing up here?
Not exactly. I wouldn't use those words. But standing in front of him, I was more just excited. Like most fighters, when you see your opponent, you're ready to go. Sometimes they're taller than you, sometimes they're shorter than you, sometimes they're wider than you, sometimes they're skinnier than you. It is what it is. You got to have confidence in your abilities and your skill set and go out there and beat them up.
Wait till you see it on TV. It's crazy on TV how much bigger he looks on TV. It's crazy.
So disappointing now that you know that Rory has a fight and it's apparently not you. What does that mean for you then? Because you had said before that you weren't committing to 170 pounds. You looked great tonight. Are you going to put on some weight and make a run at 170 or go back to 155? What are you thinking right now?
It's still in the air. It really is kind of still in the air. We'll see. I'm not really sure. So many times you guys, it's not truly up to us. It's a lot of it is up to big boss man up here. He says, hey, you should fight this guy. You either say yes or you say you probably should say yes. So it's up to the UFC a lot of times. They give you a call, they talk to your manager, they talk to you, and then you say yes, and off you go.
And then just a quick one for Dana. Ben is saying that every win is exactly the same in the UFC. What did you think of his performance tonight? Because immediately, a lot of people are saying this was his top fight ever.
Without a doubt. He looked unbelievable against a tough, big guy. Yeah, I was blown away by his performance. It was insane. He looked so good. And you know me, I'm not a big fan of small guys moving up to bigger weight classes, but how can you deny him after what he did tonight? I mean, he looked unbelievable tonight. Obviously, in a fight, when you start looking at other guys that he matches up with, a fight against Rory's got a lot of good wrestling too, and Rory is really good at using his reach. You look at a kid, he stepped up tonight. I know he came in and fought, but he stepped up tonight. He's fighting a former world champion on late notice, 5 rounds, becomes the main event here. First time he's ever been a main event in the UFC in his hometown. That's a lot of pressure on a guy. Ben Henderson is an unbelievable vet. He got inside. He used that low leg kick really well. Unbelievable shots to the body that Ben was throwing tonight. Ben fought the perfect fight, and it was an awesome main event.
Dan, I guess just to build on that, I mean, where do you see his future right now, just as you envision it? Because, I mean, obviously the size difference was big, and it seems like he'd be, dwarfed by a lot of the guys in the division. But do you think he's deserved the right to try a run at 170, or would you prefer him to go back to 155?
The other thing is Ben took some big shots tonight too. He took them, and he looked awesome tonight, man. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if he's cool. If he wants to stay at 170, I'm cool with it.
And Benson, I guess, obviously the Rory fight's not there right now, but you said, earlier this week, you felt great all week, got to see how I feel on Saturday night, that's when I'll make the decision. So how did it feel to be a welterweight?
It felt really good, to be honest. It felt awesome. There's something to not cutting down, not literally starving yourself to death. What we go through to put ourselves down the weight, if we had to continue it for another 3, 4, 5, 6 days, we'd probably do some massive damage to our body. So we kill ourselves to get down the weight. Being able to stay at 170, make it a little bit easierly. I wanted to see how the performance was come Saturday night. We performed pretty well. It was 2 weeks' notice, so I do feel if I could walk around about 180 or so. Normally, I walk around for training camp 172 pounds, like 3-4% body fat. If I can do that at 180, get down to 3-4% body fat, I got to work a lot to get there. But I think I could do pretty well at 170. Have a longer training camp rather than 2 weeks' notice for freaking mile up elevation. I was able to still push the pace and do well, but I know with a good 5-week training camp, I'll be even better, I believe.
And he's got a good chin and speed for the guys at 170.
Dan, I know you're often busy during the prelims. Did you happen to see the Jazz Skelly and Jim Ayler's fight? It looked like it ended
watched all the
illegally.
fights. Yeah, no, I'm in my room. I don't miss any of the fights.
Did you? It looked like it ended via illegal knee, and maybe the referee kind of made a mistake.
You know what? Yeah, so that was one of those situations where he was hitting the guy, and he threw the knee. I mean, when you see it in slow motion, he throws the knee while the guy is falling down, and the knee and the guy who gets hit's knee hits the ground as soon as the knee lands. I actually think the ref did a good job on that fight. That's one of those tough ones. It's not like the guy was kneeling and he was still in the fight. He was done and his knee was dropping.
And obviously, this was a great evening. Hate to bring up something bad, but it's the first time we've seen you in a couple weeks. The Anderson Silva situation, there's reports that he failed another drug test on fight night. What can you tell us? I mean, it seems to be one that really bothered everybody in the industry to see perhaps the greatest of all time, fail some drug tests.
Yeah, no, it's definitely it screwed me up for a few days. I was messed up for a few days after that. I've been a huge Anderson Silva fan too, but we'll talk about that on Wednesday. I'll see you Wednesday in Vegas.
Yeah. Can you share any more details on what to expect on Wednesday? What we can expect? Lots
of bad shit. We're not going to be talking about fun things. It's gonna we'll address all the things that have happened lately and what we're going to do and what's going to happen from here on out.
Fair enough. Thank you. Neil, obviously, congratulations on another win for you. Man, the welcome you had was incredible. It was very neat. What was that like for you? What was that moment? Because I got to think it's the first time you had that huge ovation like that. Did it add nerves? Did it add adrenaline? What was that feeling like?
And it felt great. I mean, to go from getting booed and things thrown at you in Brazil to having the entire crowd standing up and screaming your name, I mean, I couldn't ask for anything better. It felt great. It felt the energy in there, and it just definitely helped in the fight.
And now you've racked up 6 wins, and I think it's like 12 months and 2 weeks. What do you want to do? I mean, is it time for a vacation? Is it time for a break? Or you want to try to match what you did in 2014?
No, I mean, I'm healthy. I want to keep fighting. I want to get in there, keep making mistakes, keep getting better from those mistakes, and just keep getting better as a fighter. When my time comes to face the top 10, I'll be ready for it. So if I can stay active and just stay in there and keep getting better, I'm glad to do that.
If I could for Brandon, obviously it was a great fight tonight. I know you're certainly disappointed. Huge step up in competition, former champion. What did you think of it? I mean, is this, are you happy with at least what you were able to turn in tonight? Just what's the feeling right now?
Absolutely. I always get a lot of love when I fight at home, so I was just blessed to still have a fight. I told a few people, they're like, what if you fought this person, that person? At that point, I had been laid off. I was sitting on the couch and nursing my wounds and stuff. So when I didn't have a fight, I would have stepped up and fought my mom, and she's scrappy, And as much as I would hate to do that, I'm very blessed that he stepped up, and I had a lot of fun tonight. I may not look like it, but I had a blast tonight, and every opportunity I have to get in there and show what I got is just fun, man. I had a blast. I also said that Benson's a hell of a fighter, but he does terrible makeup, if you can tell.
Brandon, let me ask you. Early in the fight, obviously, you were imposing your will. You showed really good, strong punches early. What changed for you in the third round? Was it just Benson's constant pressure? What do you feel changed in the fight when he got that takedown in the third? It seemed like that's where kind of the momentum shifted.
I think I got a little more confident with my clinch, and I let him get a lot closer than I should have. Benson's a vet and an athlete, and I think I let my confidence get the best of me and didn't quite stick to my range. I got a little more confident than I should have with the clinch and just let him get too close.
I know that you hated being off as long as you were. I know nobody wants the taste of a defeat for very long. So I assume, how busy do you want to be this year now, especially after sitting out? And I'm sure that I don't know. Did you feel any of that in the cage tonight? That did you feel any of the ring rust
or cage rust or anything like that? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
No, I mean I train with some of the best in the world, and mentally I stay sharp and I'm ready for it. So I didn't feel it. I think I think I just made some mistakes, and he did very well in capitalizing on them.
And a question for Ray. Obviously, another very, very strong performance from you. Your first fight, where it was a loss, I think a lot of people, believe that you won that fight. Where do you feel you stack up at flyweight? Because right now, let's be honest, there's a minimal amount of contenders right now for Demetrius Johnson, and it seems like you've been making a pretty strong run, since that debut.
After I fought Dustin, I felt like I won that fight, but I just put it behind me and kept moving forward. I definitely feel like I stack up very well against all these other flyweights in the division. I feel like I can be a new face to the division, and also add some new waves and hopefully add some depth to this division.
What kind of challenge? I mean, obviously you don't want to jump too far ahead and say you're ready to call out the champ yet, but I mean, what kind of challenge do you feel like you are ready for? Are you ready for that top 10? Are you ready for those those guys, maybe a Zach McCoskey who sits down, something like that?
I showed taking the fight against Dustin Ortiz that I'm ready for everything. I'm ready for top 10, top 5, whatever they want to throw at me. I'm mentally strong enough and mentally game enough to do it, and also, physically talented enough to do it also.
And a question for Neil. You had said before the fight that you're just going to, you take, what comes, at you. But you had told, before the fight, you said you were a little disappointed you didn't get that Koscheck fight. That was a big fight for you. Do you feel like now is the time you can not necessarily start calling out top 10 fighters, but it is time for you, to crack that top 15, you're going to have to face those guys?
For sure. I mean, this is something that's going to come as my career progresses, but I'll just take it as it comes. It's not my place to call people out. It's just my place to train and answer the phone call when phone call comes through. So it's pretty much just back to the gym, back to working hard, and just waiting my phone and see what happens next, whoever it is, whenever it is.
And a question for Zach. Obviously, a great win for you tonight. Tim's kind of a crazy, kind of a wild style fighter, but for you to go out there, I know coming off your last fight, I'm sure you were disappointed, but to come in and get a win tonight like you did, how did it feel? And do you feel like you kind of are back on that pace that you had before the fight with Jasir?
Yeah, I feel good. I mean, like you said, Tim is a very tough guy to fight, just because he never stops and is very awkward at the same time. And yeah, I feel like I was making a run to be in the top tier of the division, hopefully get a title shot and a fight with Demetrius. And I really feel like the Formiga fight I mean, I don't want to take anything away from him, but I feel like I lost that fight more than he won it. I think I made some mistakes that cost me pretty big. And, you know, put it behind you, keep moving on, learn from your mistakes, and get better. So.
And one last question for Benson. You know, you kept talking about when I interviewed you beforehand, you said when you were champion, you wanted to stay more active, but obviously as a champion, you can't necessarily fight every 3 months. I thought you looked, you know, one of your best performances tonight against a very, very tough guy. Do you want to stay this active? Because it seemed like that activity has really helped you, you know, kind of keep your pace, and you looked really loose and just kind of like you were really, really, you know, really strong out there tonight.
I definitely prefer, like most fighters up here, to stay active, stay busy. You know, we put a lot of work in the gym. We train our butts off, so it's nice to have that, you know, outlet to shine. And like, oh, guys, I've been working this for the past 6 months. Watch this. I can do this. Watch this. This is really cool. So I want to stay busy. I want to stay active.
For Zach, if I could, you know, Demetrius has actually mentioned your name in a couple of interviews as a contender, even though you had been coming off a loss. You know, when you hear the chant mention your name, how does that make you feel? I mean, do you feel like you're deserving? You feel like you're ready for the shot now? What do you think when you hear him kind of calling you out as somebody who wants to fight?
I mean, of course, it means a lot. I think he recognizes that what I think is like I'm one of the more technical guys in the division, and I could present a challenge to him. So, you know, I'm of course flattered that he says my name, and that's my goal to get there. So, it's good for me that he mentions me.
And for Max, obviously a great performance tonight. A couple of clashes of heads that looked like they were in there. I know Cole was complaining about that a little bit. You know, walk us through those sequences. Do you remember striking heads or anything like that? Do you remember what happened?
You know, it is what it is. You know, at the end of the day, the first headbutt, he kind of Muay Thai clinched me. I don't know what he was doing, so he put me into him, you know. And that was accidental, of course, you know. And then the other one, I did my flying knee. I came down, and he ducked into me, and I was ducking into him, you know, to get my head under his chin so he couldn't shoot. And it's just accident, man. I felt horrible about him. He came to the back, talked to me. He said he wasn't complaining to me. He's complaining to the ref. So it is what it is, and it was just a great fight.
And I guess just to confirm, I mean, obviously another fight in 9 weeks. I mean, are you healthy? Is there any concerns? I mean, you got to get checked out by a doctor first, or we consider this fight signed, sealed, and done?
It's signed and done, man. You know, like this guy said, man, when UFC gives you a fight, you say yes, you know? And even if your mind thinking you say no, you say yes, you know? Because if you say no, you're going to be away for a long time. So it's an opportunity, man. You know, Cub's a top five fighter, and he's a striker, I'm a striker, so should be a fun one to watch. You see a bunch of cool spinning stuff in that one.
Anybody else? All right, thanks everybody.